I'm going to take you through a complete guide on this Golem minion build that you can use to complete all the content you need to in Season 8, and it doesn't require any mythic uniques to get to this level. Now, this minion build is capable of defeating T4 lair bosses, and you can easily beat a tier 70 in the pit with the potential to go higher. Also, feel free to mention any other great minion builds you used in Season 8 below in the comments. Here you can see me going through a tier 70 run, and I'll take you through the details of the build. Now, we're getting our damage from two main sources in the build, with one being the Ring of Mendeln and the other being our Golem. In terms of playstyle, what we are doing first is maintaining Soul Rift 100% of the time to ensure we get a barrier, make enemies vulnerable, and to get the damage buff. From here, you can send in your Golem to attack with its active ability, and then use Corpse Tendrils to bring them all together and continue to hit them with the Golem attack when off cooldown. You want to make sure you're continuing to use Raised Skeleton for the Skeleton Priest buff and the Flesh Eater Paragon damage buff. Blight can be used once the enemies are grouped together for an additional damage buff to your minions as well. Now, for curses, we don't have any on our skill bar, and that's because we apply curses either through the Blood Moon Breaches unique or the aspect of the Cursed Aura. We also have Decompose on our bar, but that is just for the Darkness skill for the damage and movement speed we get from Reaper's Pursuit passive in our skill tree. Now, I'm going to take you through everything about my current build, and I also have a link in the description to where you can find an optimal build online to help you follow along a bit easier. Now I'm going to take you through the gear and aspects that I'm currently using. So for the helm, I've got the Bloodgetters aspect on here for the Skeletal Priest, also empowering me. And then I've got the Intelligence, Max Life, and Skeletal Warrior Master. And I've taken Total Armor and Corpse Tendrils. For the chest, I've got the aspect of the Cursed Aura, so you're going to automatically inflict your curses that are close by. Then I've got Intelligence, Max Life, Golem Mastery, Crowd Control Duration. Now I've got one of these rolls in here because it actually helps with your boss power, which I will take you through shortly. And then Total Armor to help me reach that armor cap. Then for the gloves, I've got Intelligence, Life, Attack Speed, Golem Damage, and Soul Rift Duration to help keep the uptime of the ultimate skill. For the aspect here, I've got Grasping Veins. Then you want Blood Moon Breaches unique in here with a focus on the Golem Mastery. For boots, you've got the Occult Dominion aspect, and then I've got Intelligence Armor and Resistance to All Elements. Now the Resist to All Elements you'll be able to take off a bit later on once you have enough resistances and switch that out for movement speed instead. And then for the tempering, I've got movement speed and Soul Rift Duration. For the weapon, I've got a two-handed scythe. So for the aspect, I've got the Great Feast on here for extra summon damage. And then I've got Intelligence, Life, Critical Strike damage. And for the tempering, Critical Strike damage and chance for Golem to hit twice. You could look at swapping the Critical Strike damage tempering out for Golem damage instead. Then for the amulet, I've got the Reanimation aspect for increased damage. And then I've got Intelligence, Attack Speed, and Hellbent Commander. And then for the tempering, the Golem active cooldown reduction and some Critical Strike damage. Now for the ring, I've got the aspect of the Fell Gluttony for some extra damage on your active skill for the Golem. Then I've got Intelligence, Max Life, Attack Speed, Ultimate Cooldown Reduction, and Golem damage. And finally, for the second ring, you want a Ring of Mendeln. Now in here you want to focus on the +2 the Skeletal Warrior Mastery, Mage, and Golem Mastery. And for the unique aspect on here, how much damage it deals are the two main things you're looking for. Now going over to boss powers, I'm using the Bruvar's Lobbed Bombs. Now the reason you're going to be using this is to help with the cooldown reduction. This helps for your ultimate skill and then also your Golem active as well. For your modifiers, you want to take Beastmaster's Training. That's going to give you some good summon damage increase. Then you want to be taking Flesh Reaper's Disruption. This gives you extra vulnerable damage increase for each percentage of crowd control duration bonus you have. That's why you want at least the one tempering of crowd control duration bonus, and then hopefully once you temper that up, you want a higher roll so you can get the maximum 20% there. Then you want Hatred's Embrace in here. This is to get the extra 50% critical strike chance, so you don't have to worry too much about that on the rest of your gear. Now going over to the Book of the Dead, we're using the Reapers and the cooldown ones to help reduce cooldowns further. The mages, we're using the deal 3% increase damage for each active Shadow Mage. And finally for the Golem, we're using the Blood Golem with the extra damage increase as well. In terms of the runes you're using, so the Nagu and Zan rune, what I'm using here, that's so that you're going to be guaranteed critical strike and overpowers every so often. Now you will have a pretty good critical strike chance in here, but the overpower is great to have because you're going to get that guaranteed overpower every now and then. And then the other one I have in here is the Neo and Zek. So essentially that's going to help massively with their ultimate cooldown. Means you don't need to worry as much about that not being ready to use. Makes it a bit easier. You could swap that out for some other ones as well potentially. Going over to the skill tree, so in here you want to be taking Blight, Huge Flesh, then you want to be taking the essentially all your passives in here like Necrotic Fortitude, Titan's Fall, 1 Intergrim Harvest, 3 in a Fueled by Death. I've taken 2 in a Spiked Armor, but that's to help out with reaching the armor cap in tier 4. You will be able to take them out later on once you get to kind of final gear. Obviously Skeletal Warrior Mastery. You want to spec 1 point into Abhorrent Iron Maiden and into Abhorrent Decrepify so that you got those. Death's Embrace, Precision Decay. And as you go down through here, you want to be getting Corpse Tendril and the Blighted Corpse Tendrils for the Blood Orbs. We don't need the Vulnerable because we're going to be making the Vulnerable with our ultimate instead. At least put 1 point into Necrotic Carapace. Then you want to try and grab all these Darkness skills in here to help with some essentially just damage buffs in here and also movement speed buff. As you go down, obviously Golem Mastery, we're taking Hellbent Commander and also Inspiring Leader, and we're maxing out our points into Soul Rift as well. And for the ultimate passive, you're going to be taking Kaelan's Edict, so we get increased attack speed and increased damage. For the Paragon Board, now you can go through this in detail in the link in the description. For the starter board, I'm using Corporal for the movement speed and increased damage. Then I'm using Cult Leader and Dead Razor for the minion damage. We then switch over to Flesh Eater and Control. Then we move down to Frailty and Essence. And finally we're taking the Hulking Monstrosity and Golem to increase our Golem power. And finally for the Mercenaries, you want to take in right here, and then we're basically specking down here to get the resist to all elements and a damage buff. And then for the reinforcements, we're taking Varana, and for Bloodthirst for the increased attack speed that we're going to get in here. And you can basically just have this on any of your main skills that you use, or just cast when player casts any skill in combat. Now if you found this video useful, don't forget to hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel for future content.